What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. In this video, we are jumping into Red Goblin issue number 4, as our stories continue to come out covering the Summer of Symbiotes, all of which will inevitably lead to the battle between Carnage and Null. But when it comes to the Red Goblin, we have seen young Normie Osborn take on this mantle. After Dylan Brock, aka Venom, had given him the symbiote, Normie has begun to call this symbiote Rascal. And this young symbiote, very new to the world, not really understanding much of anything. Everything that he is learning, it is coming from Normie. Most recently, the two of them battled the Goblin Nation. They did this to rescue his Pop-Pop, aka Norman Osborn. And in this battle, Normie really started to question if he wanted to have a symbiote. All of this bloodlust, all of this power, he's not sure if this is something that he wants. It is also worth noting that this issue of Red Goblin takes place after Venom issue number 19. So make sure you guys have subscribed to the channel, make sure that you like this video, and with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright gang, so as we dive into this issue, we are picking up at Midtown Manhattan. We are at Oscorp HQ. The story beginning by following an individual by the name of Gary, a security guard that works here at Oscorp. And right now, he is making his way to the top floor. Right now, he is making his way to the Gold Goblin suit. Being able to override the security, he goes in for the suit. And that is what picks us up with Norman Osborn. Right now, he is having a little bit of a meeting with his grandson, Normie, sitting in front of him, and Normie has no idea what this is about. While Norman remains quiet, he takes a minute, he thinks about what he's about to do. That's when he opens up a drawer on his desk and he pulls out a grenade. He takes this grenade and he throws it onto the table. This is when Rascal comes out, noticing that Normie needs protection. And Norman, he is not surprised in the least. In fact, he thinks that it's funny that he is always right. That being right, it really is a lackluster after a while, when you've been right so many times before. But Rascal grabs that grenade and he crushes it in his hand. That's when he attacks Norman, and Normie is trying to hold it together. He is trying to get Rascal under control. The way Rascal sees it, Norman Osborn just tried to kill Normie, and so in his mind, he deserves to have punishment. Norman goes on to explain that he knew it down in the sewers. Who else would come save him of all the people? Talking to Normie, saying that he knows that he is in there. But now do you finally see what these symbiotes are capable of? This is what gives us a small glimpse of the docks. We are learning that this security guard, he is in fact owing some gangsters some money. That is why he has come to steal the Gold Goblin suit. The person that he owes money to is Hammerhead. And so while he gets ready to steal this suit from Osborn, we are picking up with Normie and Norman. They have gone into a laboratory that is inside of Oscorp, because Osborn is about to put his grandson into a machine, one that is like a scalpel of concentrated sound. This is meant to separate Rascal and Normie from one another. The way that Norman sees it, symbiotes are nothing more than parasites, that there is nothing good about bonding to them. Even going on to say that, don't you find it odd, there is a striking resemblance between the Red Goblin and everything else going on, that it's so closely to his Red Goblin. But the way Normie sees it is that there are no bad dogs, there are only bad owners. That Rascal is still young, he is still little. If Rascal takes the shape of Red Goblin, that is because Normie wants him to take that shape. But Norman says that this is only the bond talking, and Normie still wants to be separated from Rascal. But he wants to be separated because he believes he is a bad influence on Rascal. He tells his grandfather that if you think you're doing this to keep me safe, you have it backwards. Rascal is not the problem, it is Normie. It is because he is an Osborn. But he tries to get affirmation, ensuring that Rascal's not going to be hurt during this procedure, with his grandfather ensuring that this specimen will be taken to the Fantastic Four for safekeeping. with the machine being turned on. He says that Rascal is afraid. When the sound starts to go on, this is when everything goes crazy. Rascal lashing out in all directions. It doesn't take long for his grandfather to pull Normie out, but Osborn closes the door behind them. As Rascal cries out for help, he begs Normie to help him. Only now does he understand what his grandfather is doing. He is killing Rascal, begging and pleading for his grandfather to stop, telling his grandfather that he hates him. But the power in the lab, everything is going haywire. What Osborn didn't know is that Rascal has some electromagnetic properties. We see the glass begin to break, and with a giant explosion, Rascal comes flying out of this machine. Grabbing Norman, we see them fly out the window, the two of them going and falling to the ground. This is where Osborn calls his glider to him. As Rascal and Norman fight their way down to the ground, the man that had been stealing the glider, he no longer has any kind of control. Not sure what's going on or how this is happening. We see the glider come and Norman grabs hold of it. Gary barely able to get off of the glider in time. Now he stands before Normie, and it doesn't take long for Normie to understand what is going on here. This guy was trying to steal. Not understanding how the suit works, we see a number of grenades that are dropped out of the suit. And so while Normie prepares for his inevitable death, Rascal can sense the danger. He knows that Normie is not safe. And so Rascal, he clings on to Osborn. He uses Osborn so he can get up there and save Normie. And we see Rascal, he grabs those little grenade pellets and he absorbs them. He eats them. That is where we see a giant explosion. And now Norman is wondering, how did Rascal know? How did he know that I was fireproof? The thing is, Rascal didn't know. But he did it anyway to save Normie. He was more than willing to sacrifice Norman if it meant saving Normie's life. At this point, this is where Normie steps up. He tells his Pop that he needs to back off. That Norman, he only believes symbiotes are bad because he bonded to the worst one. The truth is, symbiotes are mirrors. They take their cues from humans. And yes, Rascal had hurt the Goblin Nation members. When they were down in the sewers, he gave them a beatdown. But it was all in an effort to protect Normie. And so now Normie is going to protect Rascal. He is going to protect him from his grandfather. And when Norman tries to say, "Don't make me tell your mother," he says, "Go ahead. Just make sure that you don't leave out the part where you threw me into a sonic apparatus." With Normie and Rascal leaving, Norman is now left behind with the security guard Gary, the suit falling off of him. He tries to apologize. He tries to ask him if maybe he can get a loan, knowing that it's not a good time, especially considering he just tried to steal the Gold Goblin suit. But we have the other security guards coming in. Norman is saying that you are going to tell me exactly who put you up to this, and that he should just be thankful that Norman is not doing the interrogation. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. This has been a lot of fun. I thoroughly enjoyed this issue because we're seeing a lot of character growth. While Normie may be young, he may be a little kid, he is starting to understand what the symbiotes are. He's understanding them in much grander ways than his grandfather ever could. His grandfather has only seen them as evil, as weapons. But in Normie's eyes, he understands that Rascal is just protecting him. That yes, Rascal can go to great violence, but he has only gone to violence when Normie is in danger. And more than that, Normie carries the Osborn name, a name that he knows is not necessarily known for being kind, for being loving, for being warm. He fears more for Rascal than he does himself. He fears that he might corrupt Rascal, but now he is understanding that he must protect Rascal. Protect him from his grandfather. Protect him from those that might try to use him as a weapon, that might try to destroy him. For a minute there, it really did seem like maybe Normie was going to give up Rascal altogether, that he wasn't ready for this. But as we have this character development, he is understanding more and more how important these two are to one another. I, for one, am very excited to see their relationship grow, to see who Normie is going to become and who Rascal is going to be. The two of them having the potential for great good. As we continue on our stories with the Summer of Symbiotes, it's going to be very interesting to see all of this play out as Carnage goes on to be a god and Cletus Cassidy goes on to rule and cause chaos. But let me know your thoughts, let me know your theories. If you would like to get completely caught up on everything going on with this story, be sure to check out the link in my description as well as the top of this video. It will get you completely caught up on everything going on with this series. If you would like to support the channel, you can always do so by joining the channel membership. Much like Patreon having multiple different tiers, from $1 to $50, from loyalty badges to comics every single month. Not only does this help out the channel tremendously, but you are getting tons of perks in the process. If you are unable to do this, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, like this video, hit that notification bell, and with that being said, until the next breakdown.